Gamers, this build may be one of the coolest combinations I think I've put together really ever. This build will allow you to use verbs from Solar, Stasis, and Strand, giving you great crowd control from Unravel, Threadlings, Slow, and Freeze, plus a nice damage bonus from Radiant so you can deal with chunkier enemies like bosses or champions. Now before we get into the build, if you do enjoy the content, a like and sub would be greatly appreciated. We are now less than 100 subs away from my goal of 1K before the end of the year. Thank you guys so much for the support so far, it truly means a lot. So this build allows for some crazy interactions that can spread Freeze and Unravel all over the battlefield, while also providing you Radiant from getting precision hits with a solar weapon. Now the subclass we're using is going to be Shadebinder, using Cold Snap as our grenade to mix in with Osmiomancy gloves, with the aspects, Ice Flare bolts to spread Freeze everywhere, and then Bleak Watcher, which just technically got a slight buff this season, so it's nice. Now the fragments used in this build are Whisper of Chains for damage resist near frozen enemies and crystals, Whisper of Fissures to increase the size of the explosion from destroying crystals and defeating frozen targets, Whisper of Shards to get grenade regen on destroying crystals, and lastly Whisper of Bonds to create orbs when defeating a frozen target. I will say Whisper of Bonds and Bleak Watcher can be changed out for different playstyles, but hey, this is what I prefer to use for this build. The exotic armor used for the build is going to be Osmiomancy gloves for buffed Cold Snap grenades, crazy good grenade regeneration rate, and the extra grenades so we can use Bleak Watchers as well. With that, you can take advantage of the artifact mods Pillar of Ice and Hail the Storm to spawn crystals on defeating a frozen enemy, which then that crystal can cause a larger explosion and then spread slow to other enemies, allowing you to spread CC around like insanity. Now the exotic weapon used for this build is going to be Quicksilver Storm, already one of the best primary weapons in the entire game. Add in this season's artifact mods, Unraveling Orbs plus Horde Shuttle, and this weapon becomes kinda stupid with the amount of AoE damage it can provide from Unravel and then also Threadlings. Now the other weapons I'm using for this build are an Ikello Sniper, so I can take advantage of Flint Striker and Kindling Trigger to give myself Radiant and also apply Scorch to enemies, and then as well an Apex Predator for boss or champion damage. You could even, if you want, use like a Solar Fusion Rifle like Eremite and Cartesian, and then instead use a linear instead of a rocket like Briars or Cataclysmic, so you could take advantage of Flint Striker and Kindling Trigger as well, but I kind of like using a special weapon to do that instead of wasting heavy ammo. That's just personal preference. The other artifact mods used in this build are going to be Torch for a 5% damage buff while Radiant on enemies affected by either a Strand or Stasis debuff, and then really either Overload Rocket or Dragon's Bite depending on the activity. Now I'll leave the mods on screen that are used for this build. Their whole focus really is to just provide armor charges for grenade kickstarter and also spawn orbs to keep unraveling rounds up as often as I can. I really hope Bungie continues to experiment with the artifact like they have been this season, just to really let us, create interesting builds like this one. While I would like to see more variety in terms of subclass options in the artifact, this is still a great start and I'm hoping they can build on this because, dude, this build is some stupid fun. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace!